This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 93. Is there such a thing as too much freedom? By Derek Sivers of Sivers.org.
Get ready to maximize your potential with Optimal Living Daily, the podcast that brings you the best in personal development and productivity every day of the week. Your optimal life awaits. Now here's your host, Justin Malik.
Hello, old friends. Welcome to OLD, that's Optimal Living Daily. This is another edition of Sivers Sunday, brought to you by no sponsors, just the Derek Sivers. If you don't know who he is or why I read from his blog every week, check out episode 44. It's a fun one. And before we get into it, I already mentioned there are no sponsors, so if you'd like to help support this show, you can do something very free, and that is to simply join my free weekly newsletter. It's not only free, but you also get entered to win a book every month. So to be part of the OLD family, you can text the word optimal to 44222 or visit my site, oldpodcast.com. And that's it. Let's start optimizing your life. Is there such a thing as too much freedom? By Derek Sivers of Sivers.org. I've always used freedom as the compass to guide my decisions. We moved a lot when I was a kid. Lived in 5 states and countries by the time I was 5. I left home at 17 and went off to college as far away as I could. I joined a circus for 10 years. Yes, really. Then I quit my last job in 1992, vowing to make a living making music and never have a job again. In 2002, only 4 years into my company's 10-year history, I delegated all of my responsibilities, making myself unnecessary to the operations of my company so that I was free to go live anywhere and do anything. Though I still chose to work on my company, I would work on future stuff, not day-to-day stuff. My email was filtered by the customer service staff. Hardly any needed my personal reply, so I was free to go days without checking email. I gave nobody my phone number and said no to all meeting requests, so I was free to work on my own schedule with no appointments to interrupt. I gave away most of my possessions, including my entire recording studio, to my employees. So all I had left were some clothes, books, and my laptop. Free to travel lightly. I eliminated all physical mail, setting my necessary bills to electronic payments, and had tax forms go to my accountant. I was free to move without notice. I moved to London for a year just because I could. I hardly told anyone I was gone. Most people thought I was still in Portland. Then I went to San Francisco for a few months, India for a month, and Iceland for a month. Friends back home would say, quote, "So what did you do in Iceland?" unquote. I'd say, quote, "Same thing as you, same thing I'd be doing anywhere else, just programming, working, writing, reading, flirting, living," unquote. Living the laptop life, location agnostic. Switching countries was like switching rooms in your house. Why not go sit in the den for a while? Why not do some writing in the kitchen for a change? How about the backyard? How about Berlin for a while? Brazil? Buenos Aires? Beijing? It's a big world. Why not do my work in each of these places? I could be anywhere, but I didn't have to be anywhere. But even though I had freedom of location, I still had some responsibilities to my company, CEO/owner type stuff. And I was still the main programmer, so in all of these places, I'd still be working mostly on the back-end programming, improving the site and service. My company grew 1,000% while I was gone from 2002 to 2008. And I came back to Portland for a year from 2006 to 2007. But once I left for good in 2008, I really had no more responsibilities at all and might never again. I could do anything, but didn't have to do anything. This is where it started to get a little overwhelming. I had done it. I'd reached the final destination of my lifelong pursuit of freedom. And yes, it's awesome. So, wow, now what? Where do you go when you can be anywhere and don't have to be anywhere? What do you do when you can do anything but don't have to do anything? Stop and ponder that for even a few seconds. What if you had no ties, nothing holding you to any one place? What if you had unlimited plane tickets? What if you never had to work again? Is there such a thing as too much freedom? This story isn't coming to some conclusion where I answer the question. I'm still living the question. I'm starting some new companies, but they'll have no employees, no office, and are designed to run without me from the start. I'm in New York City right now, but I'm learning Mandarin, spoken and written, and will move to China someday soon. Until it feels like home, then I'll move on to Brazil or anywhere else. Some predict I'll stop moving when I fall in love with the right person, but I think the right person would also want to live around the world too. I'm definitely happy and complete, so there's no sense of longing or lacking, just a constant pursuit of learning and experiencing all I can before I die. But those same two questions keep coming up. Where do you go when you can be anywhere but don't have to be anywhere? What do you do when you can do anything but don't have to do anything? You just listened to the post titled, Is There Such a Thing as Too Much Freedom? By Derek Sivers of Sivers.org. And that reminds me of that question that I brought up many episodes ago about what would you do if you won the lottery? It's kind of the same thing. Is there too much freedom? And what would you do with your life? And that was a short and sweet post by Derek. And this is the last episode of Sivers Sunday before the big episode 100, which is going to be something special. And a little hint, episode 100 does fall on Sivers Sunday. So yeah, make sure you catch next week's episode. And while you're here in podcast land, one other way you can support this show is actually support a different show. One that has the same premise but reads you financial blogs like Ramit Sethi of I'll Teach You to Be Rich, Mr. Money Mustache, and more. And that podcast is called Optimal Finance Daily. It's like a brother podcast of this one that I created, but with a different host. So please go check that out, subscribe, and take a listen, and let me know what you think. And that's it for Sivers Sunday. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.